Welcome to There's a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell. I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs, and I've been in business since 1994. We just got back from a beautiful trip up in New York from the area that I used to live as a kid, and we flew into Albany, and it was a really nice trip. And I'm going to tell a story about ADLs, and I will be getting into that after I thank the man, the myth, the legend, Jonathan Gilden, and his beautiful wife, Lynn, of the Gilden Group at Realty Pros. They currently have over 280 5-star reviews on Zillow. So as I was up in New York, somebody sent me this condominium that's for sale that looked like it could potentially be a good investment. And I sent it to Jonathan. Not that I was doing work on vacation. I wasn't. But I sent it to him and asked his thoughts on this. And he looked up and he came up with a lot of information on the building that I know I would not have been able to dig up on. Things with litigation and things of that nature. And he went into a lot of detail with that. So I was thankful for that, and not that it's the concern of this podcast, but I haven't made a decision on that as far as an investment. But my point is what great customer service. I mean, I text him within just a little bit. He gets back to me, gives me some information. I ask him a few more questions, and he digs a little more. And, he's got no skin on the game in this. I mean, he's just helping out somebody because he is a professional in real estate. So things like that really, really matter. And he knew what he was talking about when he explained this to me. So that's important. It is so important. I can't stress that enough with all forms of professions. I mean, we have to have professionals that just know what they're talking about and can answer questions and know where to find the answers. And that is so lacking today. So if you need help with real estate, please give them a shout. They can be reached at thegildengroup.com. Okay, so ADLs. We flew from Sanford to Albany, and both airports great. No complaints whatsoever. And you know how in those new cars they have the phone chargers kind of in the middle, the wireless chargers. So I had put mine, this is in Ellen's new car, her brand new K5, because as many of you may know, she had the nice Optima that was mine stolen when she was in Tampa for her daughter's cancer surgery. Isn't that sweet? Those people out there, near the hospital would steal somebody's car. It's already going through enough, gets her car stolen. So anyway, it had to be replaced. So we ended up with a K5, and it's a nice car. And it's got those chargers in it, as I was speaking of. And don't worry, there's a method to this madness that I'm getting into. So I get out, get up to the gate. They had something going on with their check-in, so we had to physically check in while we're there. But luckily, we had gotten there a little bit early because we got an email from Allegiant telling us that we should. And they were, forthcoming with the information that they're having some check-in issues. So we got there early. Thank God. So we do all that. We go through security, no issues, and sit down, getting ready to pull out the computer, do a little work as we wait. Looked around, was going to check to see if Joanna, my daughter, had texted, everything's good, and realized I left my phone in the car on that charger because I usually don't use chargers like that. So I wasn't even thinking about it. Wasn't in my pocket. So I'm like, oh no. So go up and tell Ellen what's going on. She's got a look on her face like, oh no. Because we're thinking, are we going to make our flight? Even though we got there a little bit early, you still never know. And I had to get back down, get through security. So I run up to the nice travel people and tell them that what happened. And she said, looked at her watch and said, I think you can still make it, what you're going to have to do is go down just like somebody did that landed, and essentially run to your car and then come all the way up through security, and we hope there's not bad lines with the TSA. And I said, okay. So that's what I did. I hustled. We were parked pretty far out in the parking lot, but lucky enough to not be out in the extra parking. That would have been really a problem. So I run down the stairs and I start sprinting through the parking lot. Maybe sprinting is an exaggeration because I did have a distance to go. So it was more of a run. And I'm running and I'm in, not workout clothes or anything. So people probably thought I was nuts. But in reality, because this is a podcast of also personal growth, they probably could give two shits that some dude is running through a parking lot and gave me no looks or attention whatsoever. But you know how we always think people are staring at us, so probably not. But in any event, I'm running through the parking lot, and as I'm running, it was a good 5-6 minute jog from where I started on the top of the check-in area. I have a little bit of time to think, and I'm going, this is going to make for a great podcast, because this is what ADLs are all about. Like, this is activities of daily living. If I wasn't in the shape that I was in, and I'm not bragging, none of that, I'm just trying to say, like, all of us can do this, I probably would have missed my flight, because I don't know how I would have gotten down the stairs of the escalator. No matter what, it's all time consuming. Out the doors, out to the parking lot, get the phone, go back through, and back up to TSA, sweaty now, which I'm sure they appreciated, and probably, and this time I do think it was a little odd or they thought it was a little odd, simply not because they recognized my face, because they see a million, but because when I handed her my boarding pass all over again, which was the physical paper kind, because the check-in process was down, it was pretty sweaty and wrinkled, and she's looking at me like, wow, this has been through a lot. And I said, well, I explained to her the situation as I was kind of dripping sweat, because great Florida humidity at even, I don't even know what time it was, 8:30 in the morning. It was already pretty dripping wet out there. So I'm thinking, this is what ADLs are all about. So to make a long story short on that one, and yes, I drug it out to make the point, I made it. I was able to get back through, and we had time to spare. I texted Ellen, got it, coming up, got through TSA, no problems. Ironically, like this time I didn't get pat down, but the first time through I did. Isn't that kind of funny? Like, same shorts, same shoes, whatever. I don't know. Just found that to be a little weird. Maybe it's random, which is fine. They do a good job. So got through, made it, and thought, this is what activities of daily living is all about. Like, that's the definition of it. Because we want to be in shape so we can do the things that we want to do, whatever they might be. And when we travel, we do have to park out a certain distance, and we do have to push, pull, carry suitcases. We do have to get upstairs or escalators or whatever. And as Ellen did a great job with this morning's email talking about the importance of taking the stairs, that it literally takes time off your brain, meaning your brain could be like 3 years younger if you consistently take the stairs. So I took the stairs, even being a little late. Actually, it was also just faster. Rather than get behind people that are just standing there, I was able to hustle up the stairs. But I wasn't able to do any of this if I didn't work on my fitness and stay in shape, because I wouldn't have made it. And I know that's a pretty extreme circumstance, but probably not that uncommon, where people leave things in the car after they've been through security. It probably happens. I could look that up and get back to you, but I'm sure there's a pretty decent percent. I don't know, maybe 5% of people eventually do that at one point. So what happens if you can't make it? Like, what happens if you say, no, my knees hurt and there's just no way I'm going to make it in time? Or, I just don't have the mobility to hustle, whether it be even power walk in time to make it, which again, power walking is great. I don't mean to dismiss that, But to be able to power walk, you have to be in shape. Like, it's not easy. You have to really be able to push. So that's an example. The airport, that's ADLs. But ADLs come all over the place, right? So when we were up there, Ellen and I have gotten into playing pickleball a little bit. And the last time we were up there, we weren't playing. So we brought our paddles and thought, let's find a court. So we did. We found a court. We're able to play. And those things we wouldn't be able to do necessarily, especially playing singles the way we like to play, if we weren't keeping ourselves in good shape. Like, it's just so important. I know a lot of times we talk about activities of daily living, and it's become one of the more buzz phrases you hear people writing about in the newspapers and the magazine articles and all that, and they tend to always be a little bit behind what we already know. But we have to think about what they really mean. Like, this is what they mean. We want to travel, right? I mean, not everybody does, I get it, but a lot of us like to travel. A lot of people like to go places. When you keep yourself in good shape. And notice, I didn't say anything about weight. I mean, sure, weight's a part of it, but I know plenty of people with phenomenal activities of daily living, or ADLs, that are overweight. I mean, being thin isn't the be-all, get-all. I mean, there are a lot of people in better shape who are carrying more weight than thin people who are too fragile and don't have any strength, can't carry things, can't get up the stairs without complaining of joint pain. So sure, it's a part of it. It is a part of it. It is part of the pie, but it's only one slice. And yes, it's better to be in good shape, body composition wise, than poor shape. Yes. But if we were to say, what's better, being a little bit overweight and having all of the other fitness components, meaning ADL, so joint mobility, strength, endurance, it would be better to be a little bit overweight, have those things, than to be in perfect weight, air quote, perfect weight, and not have those things. Absolutely, it would be better to be in good ADL, muscular strength, muscular endurance, cardiorespiratory shape, flexibility, mobility, balance. Like, those things we can all improve upon. Look, weight's important, don't get me wrong, but the other things are as important, and for many people, they are more in your control. Not that genetics takes over with weight, because that's a misnomer. That's not true. It's 75% action, 25% genetics. So that's not a huge pie, right? That is a huge pie, but in the direction of action and not genetics. But the other part of that is not everybody's willing to do what it takes to lose the weight. Doesn't mean that it's less in their control, but if we're just being realistic and say, yeah, but are you gonna do that? Are you going to eat at a caloric deficit of 1,150 calories, keeping your fat to less than 25 grams and your sugar less than 25 grams? Are you going to do that? Most people are going to say no. So even though it's in their control, it's still not realistic that they're going to do it. But is it realistic that they'll get to the gym 2 to 3 times a week, work on their strength, work on their balance, work on their range of motion, work on their mobility? Yes, that's far more likely. So it's far more in your control to do, and it pays off. It pays off hugely. Is it far more probable that you're going to do 2 to 3 days a week of nice outdoor walking or bicycling or even jogging or whatever, cardio, on the days that you're not going to the gym? Yes, you're far more likely to do that too. So we have to make sure that we do that. It's important because we can take control. Look, if we said, is it ideal to do all three? Worry about your body composition by eating the way you should, doing your cardio, doing your strength. Absolutely, that is ideal. But we also want to simply move the needle and progress in the right direction. So if we can all just remember, ADLs are my choice. I can get better at moving. I can get better at keeping my body, my skeleton, my muscles, my joints strong enough to do the things that I want to do. I can do better with doing my cardio so I don't get winded climbing a flight of stairs, or I don't get winded walking from my car to the airport. These are things that are important to me. And, one of the 7 principles is retrogression. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. We just know that. And the only reason why we lose it, because there was a time when you were out there playing tag years ago with your friends. If you're a guy, you were out there running around playing football in the fields, you were playing baseball, you were playing basketball. If you're a woman, you were playing basketball, you were playing soccer, you were playing volleyball. Who knows? You might have been playing football. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to make a point. There was a time when we all did all this. We only lost it because we quit doing it. That's as simple as that. There's no other reason. It is not the time. It is what you do at the time that's really, really critical. Okay? So those are the ADLs. Thank you, Overhead Door of Daytona Beach. Man, just like the Gildens, phenomenal customer service. My door is now working perfectly after I got my new remote control and got everything dialed in just like Zach told me it would. Jeff and Zach Hawk are the owners of Overhead Door at Daytona Beach. They're local. They're a click away. And you know what? They make sure that your garage door goes up, it goes down. If there's any problems, they fix it. So give them a shout as well at overheaddordaytona.com.